one of the big races we've had was the e-buggy Worlds. Maybe we start there. So when was the Worlds? A month ago or so? We went there with the LCG setups on our e-buggies and had a pretty good race actually. So we could talk about the Worlds a bit and then about the LCG setups and also get feedback from you who have tried the LCG shock geometry on your e-buggies or nitro, just to see what the setups are that you've liked and what's worked. So maybe Pekko can start talking about the Worlds and shock setups.
Yeah, so for the Worlds, we went with the same kind of shock setup as we were running in Nitro Euros, and that was with the angled 7-hole ultimate pistons with 1.25 holes in both front and rear. And I think we went down a bit with the oil for this race because during the Euros it was much hotter. So for the e-buggy Worlds, we went like I think 700 CST oil, and I think we were 100, like 800 at the Euros in the Nitro Euros. So yeah, that was the somewhat basic setup for that kind of traction. And then we were playing around with the new prototype springs, either to go those or with the black normal spring. And in my opinion, the black normal spring is way easier to drive if the track is lacking a bit of the super high grip. And when the track is like super high grip, the progressive new springs were a bit faster on pace when we tested that in the practice also. So I think we ended up running with the progressive springs most of the qualifiers, and then when the rain came and changed the conditions to a more slippery track, we went back to the black spring, and it was better for that conditions. And the internal springs, we were using those at the Euros, but then here at the Worlds, I think without the springs, it was actually better inside of the shock. And I think that's something to do with the layout of the track, because there wasn't that many flat corners. Most of the corners were some kind banked or something. So I think on this kind of layout, it was better to go without the internal springs.
Okay, and then more about the shock setup. Let me find. Yeah, so basically we have been running pretty much the same piston front and rear when we've run the LCG, and often the same oils front and rear. Also, sometimes like one step or 50 CST different front to rear, either direction. But most of the time it's been same piston and same oil front and rear. And the ultimate racing angle hole pistons, they've been very good on sort of the typical oiled tracks. So relatively smooth, medium to high grip. The ultimate piston with angled holes, they have been really good. Then on the sort of normal off-road tracks, let's say medium to low grip, tracks that break up, get rough, there we have used normal pistons, 5-hole even, What was the latest one you used now in Finland? Is it 5 1.5 front and rear?
Yeah, 5 1.5 and the AE piston, so smaller diameter one. Because I think we were running in Silverstead, we were running the smaller one in the rear only. And when I was doing some testing in these national races, most of the tracks are low grip and bumpy, so we need to find the traction somewhere. And I felt like with the smaller pistons, front and rear, the car has more balance. And I think I felt like I have more forward out of the corners with this kind of setup. And I think with the also with the LCG car, don't be afraid to go softer because our normal car we run quite stiff almost everywhere. But I found out also that with the LCG car you can be softer on the shocks, but still the car drives well. And I think I felt like it's better when the car is a bit softer than normally.
And also the Mayako black front spring, running it on the front and the rear, has been really good. And even in these other races where we've ended up running the new prototype springs, the black spring has actually made the car roll a bit more and drive more forgiving. But then the prototype spring has been faster, so that's why we may have run that. But I think most of the time the black front spring, front and rear, is a safe bet. So do any of you have any comments or experiences with the LCG setup on nitro or electric that you would like to share? Any settings that you've found to work really well?
So I have it set up on my nitro car and was originally running the thicker oils like Pecco said, like 600, 650 in the front, 550 in the rear. I also softened it up, made it 550 in the front, 450 in the rear, with softer springs, and on medium to low grip bumpy, it definitely worked a lot better.
And I'll also say I've been testing a lot recently with both cars, e-buggy and nitro. I spent a full day at Peace State Classic practicing both of them, and the fastest and most consistent that I found on the e-buggy specifically was the Black Springs front and rear, 5-hole 1.5s with 550 oil. On the nitro car, I couldn't get the same feel with the Black Springs. I ended up on a Losi white on the front, and then a Losi violet on the rear. That seemed to give it a little more support where it wasn't as edgy. But I have not been able to find a whole lot of comfort where I can run back to back fast laps. I've been able to go faster than my standard setups, but I haven't been able to replicate it over like a 5-minute run.
Two things that we've learned about the LCG is that you can run a bit more droop than you would with a standard shock setup. So when you add, even if it's, let's say your normal setting has been +2 front, -2 rear, like that's been a common setting now in the last year or so with the normal suspension geometry on your average track. But just going to 0 or even -1 on the front and -4, -5 on the rear, or -6 even, you'll notice that that will give you more comfort, but the car will still drive flat or flatter compared to how the regular car would drive. So you can get away with running a bit more droop, and actually it's not just getting away with it, it actually helps the car feel more comfortable. You feel like you have more overall grip doing that. And then another thing, well, we already did it earlier, but something to keep in mind is anti-roll bars. You can run thinner roll bars than you think, especially on the rear. I never ran 2.4 really on the normal stock car, but with the LCG, I've run 2.4 on the rear. So more droop, thinner roll bars, try those things. Also rear toe in. The hub toe is really good. If you add toe in on the hub, you gain rear traction, but you still maintain steering. So that's also a really good thing to keep in mind. And what else? Was there something else, Pekka, that we do on the LCG?
I have
different.
also found out on this low grip bumpy kind of track that going to the narrower C and D block much easily than with the normal car. Normal car, I rarely ran narrower C and D block, only like D and C kind of track. I would have used it, or Silverstead kind of track with the normal car. But here back home, I also found with the narrower C and D block, I think I was running 50 and is it 53 to get 1.5 degrees of toe. I was running those blocks and I felt more comfortable with the car going through the bumps and having just overall bit more grip. So I think with the LCG car, if you think about going to the narrower C and D block, I think you should go. So I think on a lower grip and bit bumpy, it will be better.
Anyone else have any feedback or comments?
I forgot when I said I thinned the oil down. I was on 6x1.3 pistons front rear, and I went down one sway bar front and rear.
Has the 6x13 front and rear setup worked well with the LCG?
Like I said, I think it definitely improved when I thinned the oil, but I want to try the 5x15 and see what that does.
Okay.
Joseph,
Yeah.
the only issue we had here, we are not many guys with this setup with the car with the LSG car. We had like the rear end of the car collapsing too much on power. Also, on such the bad landings we had on jumps, it's like the car feel good on the bench. It's okay. Setup was like 6 or 1.3, 600 CTS oil. It was like collapsing too much on power. We had a bit of anti-squat to it, but it's always something like that. No, that's the only issue we had. I don't know. We are doing something wrong. I don't know, but what do you think?
Same piston front and rear,
Yeah,
and black front spring on the rear.
the black front spring, black rear spring. The car was good. Okay, it's good to drive. It's fast. It's okay. This is the only issue we have.
Is the hub
like-
all the way forward?
No, 2 millimeters in front of the hub.
And have you tried it all the way forward?
No,
Because
well, we haven't thought about it.
when you flip the arms, the hubs are further back.
So that's more weight to the front. Yeah.
So you try them all the way forward. I think we always run them all the way forward, pretty much.
Okay.
And also,
Okay.
what droop have you been running?
It's like -4.
Yeah, because when I want more, it makes also a difference to the landings.
Yes, but I think the truth was like, okay, -4. Do you think you have to put more than this?
Yeah, I think at the Finnish Nationals, I was, let's see if I have it here close. Yeah, I was on -2 and -6, and the track
Okay.
was super rough. Like
Okay.
it had sharp bumps. If it wouldn't have had those bumps, I think I would have gone more also in the front. But because there was a lot of like small kind of bumps, I wanted to have it a bit higher so the car goes on top of those bumps a bit more. But yeah, I had -6 in the rear, so
Okay, so better on jumping or
yeah.
having more
So
droop
maybe
and
going like
also-
0 and -6 would be good to try.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, 2 points is the way. Sorry, I am with the baby.
And one other note that I had from my landings on mine are if you land on the edge of the tire or you don't make a perfect landing, it feels like the car locks up to the point of where it's easier to roll over. So if you land on like the sidewall of the tire, it seems like it's more likely to roll than it is to just land flush. I haven't been able to figure out a way to smooth that out
Compared to what?
compared to the standard car, like to the standard tires.
Okay, that's the opposite to what we have felt, so I don't know what would be causing that.
Okay.
Would raising the inside of rear arms add support back to the rear?
Raising the rear arms on the inside.
Yes.
Yes, if you mean sort of moments when you get on power exiting corners, for example, or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, anything else about the LCG? No comments? I know some people here made some parts that they thought were better.
The only thing I was going to mention was the rear wing support. They seem to be breaking more with the LCG setup. I don't know if there's a way to reinforce them going forward to the actual production.
Well, the production
Seems like you
won't
have
be.
to have extra wing supports with you.
Yeah, this is not going to be the production. So the ones that they modified at the factory, they well, I'm sure you can see they machined the wing mount all the way back where the screw goes in. If you use a standard wing mount and just do it yourself with a Dremel or knife, you just cut enough to get the screw head where it needs to go, then you won't have the problem of the wing mount breaking.
I
Do you
got
see
you.
what
So
I mean?
too much material.
Yeah.
Joseph, if you want to talk about the tower I made, I'm happy to talk about that.
Okay, let's go.
So I designed a tower. I shouldn't say I designed a tower. I made a tower that the shock mounts in the rear. And I designed it so the motion ratio is, and you and I were arguing about this, similar to the stock. What I found, and Matt Thompson tested this, and he can comment on this maybe, is what I found, in order to get enough compression, you really couldn't get quite enough droop. So you could get about -3 droop and still get enough compression for the tire to go across the wheel. And I think that's to your point, Joseph, for the motion ratio to stay the same, you got to have the same amount of travel. And obviously the front shock has less travel than the rear. But what I do like about it though is it's more simple and the shock mounting stays in the rear. I know some of the local racers have had problems bending the shock mounting on the front using the wing mount holes. This setup appears to be a little bit more durable. I was actually going to readjust it so could get a similar motion ratio using some of the stock Myoko springs, but I don't know if it's better because I haven't done a whole lot of testing, but I sure think it's pretty good. that make any sense?
Yeah. So the thing is that there are many different things that you can do that will work, but sort of you can make a pillow ball car or you can make a C-hub car.
Sure.
They both work. You can make long shocks or short shocks, and they can both work. But you have to pick something. You have to pick a lane, and there's a reason that LCG is the way it is, and that's the direction we want to go. So then the point is that we take that and we test to figure out what works within that range. So with those towers, with those shock positions, that's what we test with. Not that we make something different and then this is good. Oh, that's fine. It's like you have a C-hub car, you test pillow balls and you say, oh, this works good. And that's fine, but that's not relevant for what we are doing. And when it comes to like the wing mount braking, for example, or the shock mounting, how it is now, it's not optimal with the screw through the wing mount and all that. That's just because we are taking an existing car, modifying it to try something different. And then for production, it would look completely different and the wing mount would be different and towers and everything. And then it would work in the intended way. So the reason it is this way now is because where the shock position for the rear was going to be was right by the wing mount. And instead of having to make a different wing mount to run, it was close enough to where we just matched front and rear and used the current wing mount holes. And that is good enough to test the concept and figure out if we can make it work in all different conditions, all different drivers, skill levels, and all that stuff. So that's kind of the point of developing like this, and that's also the point of having a number of members globally around the world with different skill levels. We all try the same things. We test the same parts, and maybe someone tries some different springs and pistons and whatever, and their car works really well, and then they share that information and other people verify that. And that's how we learn and move on, because there has to be a direction. And if everyone just makes their own parts and goes this way and that way, then there's no direction.
Yeah. Do you see any benefit to leaving the shocks in the rear?
Leaving the shocks in the rear, I hope that the benefit is having the shocks in the front. I mean, I would say that the jury is still out on that. We don't know which is better, but hopefully it's with the shocks in the front, because one of the benefits of having the shocks in the front is that they are protected. So when someone hits you from the back, you can't bend the shock shaft. So that's
Sure.
already a good enough benefit to hope that that is the setting that will be better.
In addition to the polar moment advantage, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's a big deal. Okay. So let's move on. Next thing. The future development of the car, since we're on that topic. So next year, we will have pretty much the same basic nitro and e-buggy. So that the car that anyone can buy, you know, with the black shock towers and chassis and that, basically it's going to be the same. But the chassis will be the same sort of brown chassis as on the members car. Then for the 26 MPC kits, both e-buggy and nitro, they will be updated. So the e-buggy will have a saddle chassis, a new motor mount, center diff mount parts, and it will come with the LCG suspension. Then the Nitro MPC will also come with the LCG suspension. And the options will be updated also for the MPC. So from the factory, when you order the kit, the options we have now, springs, roll bars, pistons, C-hubs, there's that. But in addition, you can also pick the universal that you want, or for the front universal or CVD, and also the outdrive length based on the universal that you pick, and then narrow or wide rear C&D blocks, and the body shell. So you can customize the car more to what you are actually running, because we now have more option parts, so we need to add them as options for the members. And then for next year, we'll also have an LCG Truggy prototype, and it will be sold as a kit minus the part that we don't have, which is the fuel tank and the arms, but and body mounts. But other than that, it won't just be a conversion where you need the Truggy parts and the buggy. It will be a kit where you have all the Mayako parts that are available in that kit for the Truggy. And then for next year, it's not 100% confirmed if we'll have a limited edition kit or not. But if we do, it's only going to be sort of in something like 5 months from now. So not anytime soon, at least. So don't wait for a limited edition at the end of the year. It will only be the basic cars and the MPC cars.
And when are the kits going to be available?
When what? What was that?
When are the new kits, the 26 kits, going to be available?
End of this month, we are going to China with Pekko, and then we will know.
Okay.
I had a question for the 90% kit for the Truggy that's going to be coming out. Currently, because we're using X-ray arms, there's really no way to adjust front droop. Are we just going to run it with the shocks stopping it, or is there going to be something that can facilitate adjusting droop with the X-ray arms?
Someone made a skid plate, I think, that fits the chassis that has droop tabs.
Yeah,
Yes,
I believe you can get with either Tony
I
or
have
Ray or Richard.
Yeah, I have it. I'm just wondering if it's going to be something with the kit, or is everybody going to have to outsource that?
If we decide on arms to use, then we can include that in the kit. Because apparently the X-ray arms haven't been very good.
I don't want to jinx myself. So far, I'm probably one of the people that crash more, and I haven't had a problem with the X-ray arms, but I boiled them for like 20 minutes.
I've had good luck so far. About 9 races in, I've only kind of bent one a little bit. I haven't had any actual failures.
It's the hard arms that you'll break, but boiling's a good idea. The standard arms are fairly good. It's just they're slightly narrower.
I've broken 14 X-ray arms. Just saying.
Yep.
Smack your eye next time you see him, JQ.
Okay, then another thing. Next thing. So this is, it says on the box, it says 24 MPC. It's kind of at 25, to be honest. Okay, so it's a Nitro kit, and it has the parts that we updated more recently, like the A block with the carbon piece on the back to make it stronger. And it has the new tower on the rear, which didn't have the holes. The original broke. So the latest sort of standard towers. Then the C-hubs, we updated them at one point to have an insert for the link. And also the knuckle. It has that red ring that makes it possible to run a universal in the front. So we now have these kits being shipped to the USA store and EU store. And we also have the engines. So, we made the Ultimate Racing YMP edition. So it's basically the same engine as the Fend edition and I can't remember anymore what it's called, MX something V2. Anyway, the best version that they've made, we made the same for our youth and our mentors and our members. So we have these in Europe and America also, and we are working on some servo deals also. The idea is that we would have a competitive package to offer all of our new or returning members, youth, and mentors. When the supply of this kit runs out, then that's it. Then resuming standard 26 MPCs and 26 basic kits. But this is a really good value for money deal because this is basically overstock they had at the factory. So decided to make the most of it. The chassis is the F8 chassis. So it's not the original. It's not the new long chassis. It's the second edition standard brown chassis for the Mayako MX8.
Narrow rear.
What?
A slightly narrower rear end.
No. Yes, narrower than F7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because it has the new C-hubs and the new A-block, there's nothing really that you have to change on it out of the box. Or can someone remember something that we've changed on the kit that I'm forgetting?
Brake pads and discs.
Yeah, okay, good. It has the old brake pads and discs. But you know what? I'm sticking to my guns. You can run them or you can switch them out. That's your choice. But we aren't switching them in the kit. Because I've seen the level that most people build their cars. The discs aren't going to make a difference, my friend. So the 1% of people here who they're going to make a difference for, okay, switch them out. But if you can win international championships with those brake pads and discs, then you get a good deal on the kit, especially with engines and servos. They're going to do the job.
Actually, also, what I found out when running Nitro, the old discs and new pads has been the best combo for me. Because there was sometimes with the new discs, the coating has been coming off, which has been somewhat a problem because the brake starts to stick. But this doesn't happen with the old discs, and I have found the most consistency about that, and also the longest life for the brakes.
Okay. So anyway, I think sometime next week, these will be added to the shop. Then, so I told you about next year's cars, 2026. Then for 2027, I'll just share a bit so you kind of know where we are heading. In 2027, the idea is that the new basic kit would be an LCG kit. So whatever we figure out now during this year, next year, we create a new basic car, which is LCG. Then we would have a limited edition. It's basically LCG with all the best option parts. But then for the MPC, then it starts getting interesting because 2027, that's when we would develop a new platform. By that, I mean it is the next sort of bigger step forwards. When you create a new platform, it's not like you start from scratch. If you do that, then you're a complete moron because you've just been working many years towards something. And then you get to a point where you understand that you need to change certain fundamental things to be able to then move even further forward. So you're still building on everything that you've learned. So often for 8 scale at least, when you need to make a new platform, you have to make new gearboxes. And then when you make new gearboxes, then everything's open. You can change things on the chassis and drivetrain, shock towers, arms, all of this stuff, because everything is designed to work around that gearbox. So 2027 is the time when the MPC members will be working on testing and developing a sort of next generation Mayako LCG kit. And then the basic car, as I said, is a normal LCG car, and then limited edition, a car with all the option parts. And Truggy, I am pretty sure that we are not going to make a production Truggy until it can also be that next generation one. Because if we make a Truggy now and it's a production Truggy, it's going to be old almost immediately. So I don't think that makes sense. So the Truggy will remain a prototype for 26 and 27, and then when the new generation Mayako kit is released, that is when the truck will also be released as a production version. Is that clear? Any questions or thoughts on that?
Are there any plans for a quick access center diff for the Nitro?
Not anytime soon. For members, there are some things we're working on, but that's not anytime soon.
And also, if anybody wanted to go back to upright shocks, is that still going to be an option? Is there going to be a conversion, or is it pretty much eliminating rear shocks and all that, and everything's going to be LCG?
I mean, right now, the normal standard car is standard geometry.
Yeah, no, I mean in the future.
And next year it will be, and the year after that, a lot of people will still have it. So that's so far in the future that, you know, there's no point in worrying about that right now. But no, if we decide to make the standard car LCG, then there's not going to be some conversion for standard. It's like you don't need that anymore.
And what about new e-buggy MPC you said before? The only layout you are planning is saddle layout, right? Or there will be both layouts available on one chassis plate?
We thought about that first, but most likely it's going to be just the saddle, because the layout we have now is available on the normal car.
Thanks.
With the MPC kit that's going to be released with the options, will we have the option for saddle pack or brick for the chassis, or will it just be the MPC kit will be saddle?
That's actually a good question. So one option in the very beginning was that we have a chassis that has both, and then another was just what you said, that you can pick the one you want. So, but the final decision on that hasn't been made. But I think that the MPC will be saddle only. Anything else?
I'm trying to think of questions people ask me at the track. What's the status of a manual? Is the kit going to start coming with a printed manual, or?
It won't come with a printed manual, but we'll have a manual now. So the new releases that come, we will have manuals. And of course, there are some things that aren't in the kits that we need manuals for, even just the LCG. We don't have anything on the wiki or any manual for that, so that needs to be created too. Kind of like what we have for the floating steering servo.
When are you making your 10th scale?
I'm not going to make a 10 scale, but I should, because apparently they pretty much suck right now. I'm looking at the worlds.
Well, we need the Ferrari of 10 scale. We have the Lamborghini of truggies.
Yeah, that's coming. But 10 scale, no, that would be the last class, because they race on shitty tracks 99% of the time. I'd sooner make a touring car than 10 scale off-road.
Just because you don't like it, it's not that they are shitty trucks.
They are. No, they
Someone
are.
like it.
They are, because why would you run an off-road car on carpet? That's stupid.
Yeah.
It's an off-road car for a reason. Yeah, it's like those videos you see where they run some short course on asphalt. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Yeah, stupid. So
All
some
right.
things, some opinions are better than others.
It is pretty fun to drive on carpet. Yeah.
Yeah, with a touring car, it is. Yeah.
No,
car that's designed for it. Yeah.
No.
There's still lots of clay and dirt around here.
Yeah, my indoor track is clay.
Yeah.
They're very far. They're
Okay.
very far and few in between, and a carpet car gives it gives another half of the people that have wintertime accessibility to something.
Yeah, touring car. Run touring car in the winter on carpet. That's what it's made for.
Yeah, we're not in Europe. We're not in Europe. There's like, I don't know, 5, 6 on-road tracks in the whole country over here.
Yeah, well, you need more, clearly. Run your off-road cars on dirt. Run on-road on asphalt and carpet. So it should be.
Okay, move on.
Yeah. So anyway, we were supposed to talk about more stuff, but because my internet has basically melted my brain, I'm just trying to contain myself and not smash my laptop. And I'm tired, so we're not going to talk about it right now. Right now, we're going to have a YMP meeting. Supposed to have started 10 minutes ago. For those of you mentors or youth, I'm going to put a Zoom link in the Discord channel in that section, and I'll see you there. But I think either next week or the week after, we need another MPC meeting. And that's more about Mayako's plan for the future. I mentioned a bit about the cars and the car development, but we also need to talk about how we are actually going to get there. So the membership, the youth mentoring program, service centers, all of this stuff. We need to talk about that and make a plan. So we'll do that next week or the week after. I'll post in Discord about it. Okay? So anyone who sort of knows that they want to stick around, I recommend that you keep your eyes on Discord and you join that meeting. And I just remembered something I forgot. This kit, the engines, servos, there'll also be some other stuff. So bags, radio bags, oil bags, tool bags, all kind of stuff like that. Pit mats, setup boards, all of these kind of things that we can also personalize. So we will talk about that on Discord. We'll organize a sort of pre-order so that if you want the stuff and if you want it with your name, we can make that happen. So that's also another thing. So we have the special deals on engines, servos, kits, and we are making some accessories that you can personalize if you follow Discord and if you make a pre-order. And otherwise, they will just be available then sort of generic for all Mayako users. But if you want, you can get your names on the stuff.
So speaking of the nitro engines, are those just like a one-time deal, or are you going to get more once they sell out?
I don't know yet. We'll see how this goes. The idea was really just to have something good for
youth mentoring.
For the youth. So when they sign up and we support them, then they don't want to get some, shitty Hong Kong engine because it's cheap, and then they try and race. Like, what's the point? Like, why am I trying to help you when you can't make it more than 2 laps around the track? So we want to have some good products at a good price, make it an attractive offer for all the youth mentoring program participants, but of course members get access too. That's the thinking behind it, and then people can make the most of their racing. Budgets are tight.
If there is a future version of the engine, any plan to have an option to include a pipe?
Maybe, but the pipe is a pipe. You can get pipes everywhere, anywhere, and you probably have pipes already. So that's why we didn't do it now. Okay.
Gold pipe to match the head.
A gold pipe. That's something I haven't seen. We could be the first.
Rico will do a colored pipe for everyone.
I forgot to check the chat. What's going on here? Pretty much asked those questions here. When do we have new small center drive? Maybe center gear. So we made the samples for the Truggy, and we will make, I don't know, actually, I don't know if we'll make mod 1 small diff gears, because we need to make some mod 0.8 gears. And
do the mod 8, mod 8.
And then when we do that, then we can make it for the small center diff also. Okay. So we'll have a meeting in a week or two, and we'll talk about some other things then. Cool.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
YMP next.
Bye.
YMP next if my internet still works. Let's see.
See you.
Risky business now. Bye.
All right.
See
have a
ya.
good one. Thank you.